For those of you that don't know me, I suppose there are some, my name's Bob Nudd. I'm returning today to a venue that I last fished, and I last was here in 1994. That's a long while ago, 24 years ago, so a long while ago. This is a rowing course, probably I think about 2.5 miles long, but perfect for fishing. And this is the last venue where England hosted a World Championships, 1994, where England won the team event. Really tough match, so hard fishing, but beautiful venue to fish, and now nobody fishes it. I think fishing is actually banned here. I'll tell you a little bit about that weekend. In those days, every section you had to win, and there was 33 anglers in a section then, so you had to win that whole section, probably both days, to win the individual, and of course the points added up for the team. We were fishing on the far bank, over on the other side, 5 sections, 33 anglers, and it had started to fish really bad. I don't know why. Leading up to the competition it was fishing really well, we were catching loads of fish on bloodworm, but about a week or two before it really went downhill. So it turned out to be one of the toughest World Championships I've ever fished. And the England team plan was to fish sliders at about 35 metres, and although you could fish a waggler at that distance, or that depth I should say, because it was only about 10 foot deep, there's quite a bit of tow on this water, and you needed to get your shots down. So if you had the wind blowing, and it was blowing from left to right, if you fished a waggler, what happened was the float went the wrong way. It went with the wind, but the actual tow underneath was going to the left. So a slider with the weight down pulled the float through correctly. So that's why we did it. We all clipped up. And on the first day I drew, I think it was B or C section. It's a long while ago. And the section was so tough, and I mean tough. I caught 4 fish, won the section easily, because there was only about 11 fish caught in the section. 33 anglers, about 11, most people blanked. It was incredibly hard. So I'd won my section the first day. The team had done pretty well. We were well up there, so we were looking to be in sort of at least the bronze medal position. Now day 2, I'll tell you about. Day 2, now Alan Scotthorne blanked on the first day. And of course, day 2, what happens? I go and draw Alan's peg where he'd blanked, and everybody was throwing, oh, you've drawn where Alan blanked, you've got no chance. But I said, hey, hang on a minute. Alan would be brilliant at feeding. I know exactly where he fished, 35 metres. My rods are clipped up the same. I will be exactly where Alan. I said, I'm not worried at all. I said, and as it happens, that was the case. I didn't have to worry. Alan had fed it. It was one of those days we were only catching mainly perch and odd roach. We were feeding little balls of leamed up joker, double lean with some joker and bloodworm in, firing it out and you had to be fairly accurate, firing out with a catapult, 35 metres, getting this bait to drop down, the float, making sure it was going through with the tow, not with the wind, because when your bait gets to the bottom, then any bits of joker will be going with the flow, with the tow. So you had to make sure that was happening, going through right. And it was so difficult. We were fishing probably an 18 hook, I can't remember, 2 bloodworms, fishing for perch, just on bottom. And I had a massive crowd behind me, so I was casting out. And what I was doing was, of course with perch you have to move the float a bit, don't you? It was tripping a bit, but sometimes you have to give it an extra bit of a pull. And I was casting out, just an extra little tease. And of course all the crowd was gasping because my float went under, everybody's behind, they can't see what I'm doing right at the front. I'm turning the reel handle just to make the float go down and pull the bloodworm a bit more so the perch would grab it. The crowd gasping, what's he doing? Why isn't he striking? Then of course, when I wasn't doing it, if the float went, I knew then it was a bite and oh, everybody was happy. But anybody watching would probably think, well, what's he up to? Why isn't he striking at those bites? And I ended up with quite a few fish the second day and won the section with not a massive weight, 2 or 3 pounds I think, but I had quite a few fish. Won the section easily, 2 section wins, and I was individual world champion. But even better, we got the team. England won the gold, so it was a double gold. And there must have been, I've never seen so many people, 20 years I fished for England, I've never seen so many people at a world championship. Something like, I'm guessing 20,000. What a fabulous day. I'm not sure why we had a decline really. Some people blame cormorants, and it could have been that because that was a period when a lot of cormorants started to appear. And of course, if you get a lot of fish, cormorants love fish, and if they're easy for them to catch, and it was easy for them because it's quite shallow water, then it could have been that. I don't know, or whether the cormorants moved the fish about. I'm not really sure what went wrong because the quality of the water was still good. And since then, once we had that decline, then nobody came to fish it. So it might be solid now if we turn up now, and if we were able to fish, but I do believe that they have banned fishing now, it might be solid in places. In fact, look at, whenever I see water, I think, oh, I'd love to go fishing. And that's what I'm thinking right now. Oh, I'd love to have a go just to see if those roach have come back.